I start talking real talk beforehand, okay?
Okay.
And
Oh yeah!
Well, Tim, the music stopped.
I know. I pressed the wrong button.
We are live. Pro wrestling.
We have finally arrived.
Pro wrestling.
Hold on.
Oh my god.
Outcast and my asshole producers.
I was playing it again so I could do the fade out control.
I was expecting a fade out, and the producer again has screwed me over and put himself over. I'm Mike Maritas, Tim Exman.
We're doing the job already on this thing, aren't we?
This is a totally new format for our show. We are live. You can see me. You can see Tim. You can even in the little right corner see two douchebags, Matthew and John.
And we could switch over. Away!
For when they want to be the star of the show, they can even do that stupid effect. Don't start with me.
It's going to be a long afternoon, Mike.
It's gonna be.
We're going to have a lot of fun, though, today. What do we got on tap?
So,
what's going on?
First, this is, again, a new venture for us. We're going live. We're going for the people.
The people demanded it. They wanted it. We give it
Even
to them,
though
right?
the people, in honor of what we're going to do, the people have betrayed us, Tim.
The people have betrayed us.
And we no longer fight for the people.
No?
Today, what we have decided is WrestleMania season. We are only a couple weeks away, and we are going to start with a recap. WrestleMania 19.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we sat down for a meeting a couple of weeks ago to decide the format for this show, and in deciding a WrestleMania, we asked you for your input specifically, and your favorite Mania is the one we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, as we go along, I don't want to kind of give too much away, but, as we go along, hopefully you guys will see, not saying the show didn't have its flaws right off the bat, and, we'll dive into those as we go along. But, from start to finish, I think this thing was perfectly executed, just almost seemingly flawlessly. Like I say, there are some hiccups here along the way that we'll delve into, and looking forward to this. This is something new that we've been wanting to do for a while, and it took us a couple weeks here to finally get this thing off the ground, and let's get into it. I think I said, as you guys go along, go back on the WWE Network after or as we're talking, and watch this thing with us, and just kind of see for yourself. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear it, and this is going to be a really cool, dynamic, new aspect to the PWL.
Come on in! We're nightmares on the best part of my day!
I have a feeling this is going to be a theme.
Well, we just got to get through it. We're professionals, right?
So let's dive into it. WrestleMania 19 opens up, and we've got the video package. And I think it's one of the more well-done video packages to open up a WrestleMania. It's almost the what WrestleMania means to me type package.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I think it was just phenomenally done, well executed on whoever produced it, and taking the competitors who were going to be in that WrestleMania, what it means to them, and also bringing in some of the icons, the legends like an Andre the Giant and things of that nature, and including those into those pictures, Ultimate Warrior and such. Beautifully done. It's one of my favorite all-time openers for WrestleMania. Just the meaning of WrestleMania, and it gets you amped. If you're not into it by then, man, you ain't got a pulse, and you're not going to be into wrestling.
You can feel it, dude! You can feel it!
So we open up at Safeco Field, home of the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
Baseball stadium. I always like the baseball stadium.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool dynamic,
atmosphere.
right? Yeah, absolutely.
You got fireworks in the background, and of course you've got Limp Bizkit just in the background, and everybody loves Limp Bizkit.
Gearing up for them later on in the show.
Yeah, absolutely. You open up with JR, and he talks about his John Wayne cufflinks. He introduces the SmackDown team, and then we get right into a SmackDown opener for the show.
Yeah.
We've got the Cruiserweight title on the line, much maligned in terms of WWE, the Cruiserweights. We've got Rey Mysterio facing Matt Hardy version 1.
V1.
So, Rey Mysterio's in his little Daredevil get-up.
Yeah, really cool outfit. Really cool outfit. Wasn't crazy about the mask, but thought the rest of it was pretty top notch. Yeah, for sure.
And of course, Shannon Moore comes out with Matt Hardy and
The little MFer.
Yep, and they do the
Mattitude follower for all you kids out there.
And they do the Matt Hardy 1.0, the whole computer screen thing.
Yeah.
Which I never dug because I hated the lag and it just,
but how did they do WrestleMania without Matt Hardy? He wondered it then. That's one of the things. A little Mad Dude fact for you.
Okay.
No, okay. I was a Mad Dude follower. Sorry.
Agree to disagree.
All right. Fine.
So obviously,
already?
This match has got
Long way to go here, kid.
numerous cheating spots. Shannon Moore is constantly involved in the match. Kind of was a theme for some of this show. There's in some other matches, but specifically to this match, speak to what you thought of the match. Not too long of a match, but obviously a lot of spots where Shannon Moore was involved.
Yeah, looking back on it, I think you're hit the nail pretty much right on the head on that. I think when it was a little too short, but you're jamming a lot in on WrestleMania, so some things are going to get cut. When I first watched this back the other day, it kind of brought back the old school WCW days to me, actually, as far as the formatting goes. Because listening to Eric Bischoff on 83 Weeks, and his philosophy on how he wanted to be different and things of that nature, and starting off the show hot. And 9 times out of 10, he would start off a show, whether it was a Nitro, a Thunder, pay-per-view, with a Cruiserweight match. And to me, that kind of, obviously we're 2 years past the WCW, debacle, not debacle, but the whole WCW going under and WWE buying them.
Sure. But
that kind of brought back the memory of, let's start off the match hot, let's start off the show hot with, great Cruiserweight matchup. And, I think they kind of did it. They surprised a lot of people for the time that they gave. I think they did a very nice job. I think it was like a great opener. Crowd was hot. They were into Rey Mysterio. They were against Matt Hardy. They hated Shannon Moore, like you said, coming in cheating 2, 3, 4, 5 times, whatever it was. I thought it was, very well done.
Yeah, perfectly acceptable. The only thing, and I'll have some of these same criticisms throughout the show, it was a theme for me with this WrestleMania. Shannon Moore was involved too much, I thought. Took away from the match a little bit.
Yeah.
These are 2 very good competitors, 2 very good in-ring guys. I would have preferred more between them instead of the hijinks with Shannon Moore.
Yeah, I think they could have probably got rid of Shannon a little bit earlier in the match, and the match wouldn't have lost a step. The ending, which I know you're probably getting to very shortly here.
Yeah.
The ending was what it was. A lot of nice counters.
Yeah.
But at the cheating to win, that was his forte at that time. It was by any means necessary to hold on to the title. And I thought it was, again, it was just some of the way that they executed it. Some very high spots, some ridiculous spots from Mysterio early on, and just Matt Hardy held up his end of the bargain, and for that time frame in 2003, it worked.
Yeah,
it was a hot opener.
Not the best opener, but that's certainly not the worst. It's perfectly acceptable.
Absolutely, great way to get
crowd
that
was
safe
into it. Good crowd. Obviously Matt Hardy picks up the win and retains his Cruiserweight title.
Yep.
So then we transition over to the Miller Lite Catfight Girls showing up via limo.
Always got to have a limo entrance.
Yeah, obviously, and I'm not really going to speak too much of that. Just really, it's. Well, that's really
There you go.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, it really just didn't.
Well, it's setting up what's going to happen.
It was the time of what we're dealing with. So we then transitioned to Nathan Jones, who Tim and I, honestly, when I was watching this show, I forgot
about Nathan Jones.
Forgot who the fuck Nathan Jones was. Why he was getting beat up pre-match, and why the hell he was tagging with The Undertaker. So maybe you can provide a little backstory and remind us who the hell Nathan Jones was.
Okay.
Decent looking guy, had a decent look, but
so Nathan Jones was this, as far as I can recall. Nathan Jones was this big, huge, 6'8", 6'9", jacked up freak of nature from Australia, who in storyline, came from the prison, broke out of the prison, and got, I guess, crossed the U.S. border.
No extradition, I guess.
No, absolutely not. And Vince McMahon signed him to a contract. Said, "Hey, come on in. You're an ex-criminal. Yeah, you're an ex-criminal. Let's bring you in and see what you got." Moving forward, he teamed up with the Undertaker, and Taker kind of took a liking to him and things of that nature. I think they eventually realized that two things. A, Nathan Jones was not ready for the Big Show. And B, wait, we've established this Undertaker undefeated streak. If he's in some type of tag team match, whether he wins or loses, does that streak continue? It was a little bit of a gray area. Mm-hmm. So, they did this angle on Sunday Night Heat prior to WrestleMania. Back when WrestleMania was only about 4 hours long, because you had the Sunday Night Heat hour and then you had 3.5 hours of the Mania. Not like the 6, 7, 8 hours we're going to be getting this year. They did this little angle where, it was Big Show and A-Train. They along with Nunzio, who lured Nathan Jones into the shower for an episode of Gorillas in the Mist. Something about a wallet being stolen. They come back and they beat up Nathan Jones. You see Big Show A-Train walk out of the shower. Nathan Jones is laid out with a chair on his head. He's out of the match. That then sets up
Big Show?
No. That sets up the greatest call, the greatest introduction in history for a musical guest.
Yes.
It sets up Tony Chimmel introducing
the greatest...
the WWE's favorite band in the whole world, Limp Bizkit. And Fred Durst and company come out and they do Rolling, which was the very first original, or no, the second one, I guess, actually. Song when Undertaker became badass, American Badass, and led him to the ring, which was a pretty cool.
Yeah,
honestly,
unfortunately,
it was what it was.
It took an hour. Their fucking
long.
Performance took longer than his normal WrestleMania entrances when he's.
You could have given Matt Hardy and Rey Mysterio 3 more minutes.
So they're on forever singing the same chorus, and then finally he goes to the ring, and then they join him, and
it was way too long.
It was terrible, but. Viva la Luxa! But again, I thought this match was so obviously you've got Big Show, and I'm gonna call him Tensai because he's Tensai.
I'm gonna call him Tensai for viewing purposes.
I remember
only.
we watched Matthew, John, and I were watching this show a couple days ago, and Matthew saw Tensai and thought he was wearing a vest, and we told him no, that's his chest hair. That's not a lie. But anyway, so it's traditionally a handicap the way it's set up with Nathan Jones being out. But again, I thought this match, just looking back at it, and again, I saw this throughout the whole show, excess of what I would call blind referee syndrome, where they make the referee just totally blind to everything that's going on.
Oblivious to what's going on.
Yeah, it was a little excessive, this whole Mania for me, and maybe it was a sign of the times. But I thought it was a little out of control. But, I mean, talk about the match. Obviously, Nathan Jones comes, roaring down towards the end of the match and helps Taker secure the win. But nothing crazy about the match. I didn't think it was actually that bad a match, especially A-Train. I thought I think he was... I don't know if I want to use underrated, but he can certainly carry himself.
He could hold his own, yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. Tend to disagree with you on a few of these things here.
Sure.
And this is where we might get into the weeds a little bit, and I'm going to apologize to some of you guys out there right now. There's two things wrong with this match.
What?
One, it went probably 5 minutes too long.
Okay.
I would have liked to have seen Taker come in, do the pull drop down when Big Show went over the top, choke slam to A-Train, match over, good to go.
Okay.
That's number one. Other than that, it was a little slow prodding. Okay, I'll give it to him. They didn't do that, so they went to
abdominal stretches.
Yeah. My second issue with this match is, go back and watch this, guys, on the WWE Network. Tell me I'm wrong if you think I'm wrong. Undertaker was defeated at this WrestleMania. Go back and watch this. This match was built originally as a tag team match, correct?
Yes.
It was originally supposed to be Taker, Nathan Jones, Big Show, A-Train.
Yes.
Nathan Jones is taken out on Sunday Night Heat, correct?
Yes.
They then come onto the show and build this match as a handicap match. 2-on-1. Big Show, A-Train versus Undertaker, correct?
I'm pretty
You're
confident.
going where I'm going with this,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
That means it's 2-on-1. That means no outside interference. Nobody else can come down into this match. Okay. Nathan Jones comes out. He does the little spin kick, which they edited on the network. He totally freaking missed Big Show on the live show, first and foremost. But that's outside the ring. That's okay. And then NWO used to do that kind of stuff outside the ring. The match continued. That's cool. We'll leave it there. Nathan Jones gets into the ring. There's an Irish whip reversal. Nathan Jones kicks A-Train in the face. This is where you're forgetting some of this stuff here. Nathan Jones, an illegal participant, kicks A-Train in the face. Freaking Brian Hebner, rookie Brian Hebner, the stupid scab referee, should have rang the bell, signaling for a disqualification.
Give me what I want.
I'm not saying I want it. I'm calling it the way that I see it.
So you're saying that the Undertaker streak should have ended 10 matches in?
I am saying... No, I'm not saying that it should have. But based on what they did, yes. Have a ref bump. Have something happen. He's standing there watching Nathan Jones, an illegal participant, enter the ring and kick somebody in the face.
But he's also the same referee who, when I believe Tensai was applying an abdominal stretch, was also using his hand and being pulled by the Big Show.
Well, he couldn't see. There was two big guys.
And he couldn't see.
Right, but there's two big guys. So you're telling me that he couldn't see Nathan Jones in the ring kick A-Train in the face. I'm just saying.
I don't think anybody cared enough, Tim.
Well, maybe it wasn't.
It's called Booking 101. Learn it, Bruce Pritchard. Whoever booked this shit. Next match. God, I'm hot now.
So that's what you...
That was my rant.
That was your rant. That's not what I expected to be.
There's an asterisk right now on Brock Lesnar's beating the streak at WrestleMania 30.
So you're not saying...
I'm saying the Big Show...
You're saying Laura Tensai and the Big Show.
What's today? Sunday, March 24th at 3:22 p.m. The Big Show and A-Train broke The Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania 19, Safeco Field, Seattle, Washington. Go back and watch it on the network. Tell me I'm wrong. Go.
Next up, triple threat, women's title on the line. Surprising match. I enjoyed it more than I remembered it being.
Yeah.
So we have Trish, we've got Jazz, and we've got the champion Victoria with Stevie Richards.
Yep.
Your thoughts?
I think back for the time, 2003, it was probably the best women's match in recent memory at that time. Obviously since then, where it's the sky is the limit for some of these women nowadays. And even in the 2007, 2008, that era, there were some good matches. For what this was back in 2003, and again with the time that they were given, thought it was really cool. I thought it was a really good match. Like I said, probably one of the better ones. Even beating the one that they had at the prior Mania with Trish, Lita, and Jazz. I thought this was even better. The nice couple little funny spots, or one spot with Steven Richards coming in, hitting himself in the face with the chair, and then Trish getting kind of her revenge type of thing with the satisfaction on him.
Now, question for you.
Thought it was cool.
I don't know if I was the only one that heard this or not, but Stevie Richards was very vocal during that match.
Okay.
It was very apparent you could hear him. And I just kept hearing him say, "Suck it up, it's WrestleMania."
Suck it up, it's
to
WrestleMania.
Victoria.
Okay, yeah. I don't.
I was laughing my ass off. Stevie Richards, suck it up, it's WrestleMania.
I remember that once or twice. I do remember Jazz grabbing Victoria by the neck, pushing her into the turnbuckle, saying, "I'll kill you." So I remember that one. But yeah, big ups to Trish. She got the W there and regained the women's title, right?
And I looked up, and I just wanted to see what Jazz was up to these days.
Yeah.
Did you know Jazz is the current NWA Women's Champion?
I did not know that, no. Really?
Fact.
Seriously. All right, good for you, Jazz. Great.
Just for you all out
Mike
there.
Tyson look-alike, great job.
Do my research. I just, I took some, one thing I noted during that match, Trish did a great job selling during that whole match.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's, doesn't get enough appreciation for, obviously she's a Hall of Famer, but nobody...
Well, she's a Hall of Famer now based on what she accomplished.
But I don't think people appreciate how, she really stood out.
Yeah.
During that
Well,
era.
you think in 2003, which is what we're discussing today, she was she was 3 years into the company at that point, but really only, I think, a year and a half at that as being an in-ring competitor.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, probably a year and a half. So the fact that she learned, and you can see, like you said, you noticed her selling. In 2003, there's guys who've been wrestling 15, 20 years who can't sell now, or who don't sell, or just whatever the reason.
Yeah.
So for her to come the long way, that's another reason why she's a Hall of Famer. It was a great match.
A lot of unique submission moves.
Yeah.
A lot of power. Just really stood out on the card.
Absolutely, it was a good one.
So we get, of course, next is one of our big promos of the night backstage.
Yeah.
We've got The Rock.
Yeah.
We've got the Coachman.
The Coach.
So, one thing, great promo. Obviously, Rock going into how the people have turned their back on him as the people's champion. One thing I noticed, it seemed like it was piped in from me, the boos during one spot.
Oh,
seemed
sure,
like it was
yeah.
fake boos.
When he was talking about the people.
Yeah, like a fake.
The people are the ones who drove The Rock out of.
It was a clear piping in. It wasn't
Sure.
a legit crowd reaction, but great promo. I mean, anything you want to add?
No, The Rock's The Rock, and I thought it was a great way that he, again, just kind of stuck it. And, 17-year-old me was pretty pissed off at The Rock at this point. Mm-hmm. But, stuck it again to me, twist that knife just a little bit more with, comparing wrestling to, what Hollywood's taught me with the 3 acts. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Just another, he's great on the mic in any way, shape, or form. You got a hand for the son of a bitch.
John, your thoughts, having, met The Rock and, our great experience with The Rock in Raw in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts about The Rock?
Just The Rock in general?
His promo.
I actually... What?
Oh,
Why were you poking me?
your hand was in the way.
Oh, I forgot that I'm on
We're
camera.
live.
Okay, anyway. I thought that was probably...
Working without a net, folks.
I thought that was really, close to peak heel Rock. Because he was a heel back then when he fought Austin, but he really kind of wasn't. Because, it was kind of more
He was
split.
a young heel, he didn't know.
Yes.
Now he's...
Rock,
in
he
tune
knew
into it.
at that time how to play the game on that one.
And we'll get into that during the match. He
Yeah.
did a masterful job as well. So, next match up, we've got a triple threat for the tag team titles. Los Guerreros.
Fatal 4-way. No, it's a triple threat? Okay.
Triple threat, yeah.
Okay.
Play-by-play, just remember that.
Gotcha.
Los Guerreros.
I'll stick to my...
With Benoit and Rhino, which I totally forgot.
Are we allowed to talk
That
about Chris
happens.
Benoit?
Wait, so
Yes.
who's in
Podcast?
this?
Okay.
Who this again?
Los Guerreros.
Los Guerreros.
We have a team
boy.
of Chris Benoit and Rhino, and then Team Angle, the champs. I didn't know, or at least I didn't remember Benoit Rhino. Was that a long...
No, it wasn't long term. I believe, and I could be wrong about this, but I believe the original idea, or the original, was supposed to be Benoit and Edge.
Okay.
But with Edge's neck surgery, I think they switched gears. I could be wrong about this, but that's what I just believe the concept was. It was supposed to be Benoit and Edge at that time. So they kind of switched gears, and Rhino was coming back from injury.
Sure.
And, Rhino's a good worker, which we'll get into in a couple minutes here with this. So he kind of just slid into that role.
So I took a few notes for this match. Very fast paced.
Yeah.
Good flow. There was not a slog in the match. There wasn't really a bad period in the match. It was continually flowing. I thought Eddie Guerrero, just it speaks to his greatness, he stood out in that match amongst everybody else. Even among, Chris Benoit, for as great as he was. And it made me think of Eddie Guerrero specifically, and I wanted to talk about this. Obviously, he was definitely bulkier at that time.
Yeah.
Made me wonder if Eddie Guerrero, I think of guys like Seth Rollins and some of those guys right now who do like the CrossFit and the other ways of training and bulking up, how good Eddie Guerrero would have been in today's environment when the need for doing that sort of stuff maybe is no longer there.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean...
So, are you asking, like, if Eddie Guerrero wrestled today?
Yeah,
or if
Eddie,
he was in that...
Do you think Eddie
prime?
Guerrero could have been even greater in today's WWE?
But are you saying, like, how, like, the age that he was then, or if he was still alive?
Take him,
okay,
WWE, take WWE Guerrero,
Okay.
Eddie Guerrero, and put him in today's WWE.
Okay.
With-
Go ahead.
I'll let you guys start that off.
You could start that off. I just wanted to clarify.
I mean, God, man. Eddie Guerrero was so great in that age, in that time. And maybe we'll get to do a Guerrero episode here on the podcast. If you guys would like to see that, maybe we'll put up a poll or something and see what you guys want to hear. Jesus, I wasn't expecting that question. But kind of going back to what you're saying, he stood out. Him and Benoit, in my mind, in this match were, kind of the ring generals of this match. Unfortunately, not to divert your question or to avoid your question, I'll try to get to it in a minute here. But talking about the match specifically, looking back at it, I don't know if I was that impressed with it as much.
Okay.
Thank God Guerrero and Benoit were there. I've started, been watching wrestling for 27 years now, whatever it's been. These triple threats, where multiple guys in there. It can go one way or the other. It can be entertaining as hell, or it could be a total clusterfuck. And this was kind of like, in between.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like your traditional triple threat. You only had two in at a time.
Yeah, right. But, it's just... Then why would you tag out? There's those type of things with the gimmicks and stuff like that. But, back to Eddie Guerrero, and could he have been even better today or whatever, God, I don't know. I think that's probably not fair to even think about
it's
that.
Just it makes you wish that
yes,
they could have taken some of today's, I don't know, modernization.
The way that they train or whatever. Yeah, the training sessions.
Those guys,
absolutely. I think Guerrero would have definitely thrived in this spot. I guess there could be an argue that maybe Guerrero would be facing Brock Lesnar again for the title at this year's WrestleMania if he was still here today.
And real quick, before I forget, and I forgot to mention this during the first match, Rey Mysterio. I think, and we saw him most recently at All In. I think he looks better today than he did then.
Yeah.
He moves better today than he did 16 years ago.
Yep.
Which is incredible.
He was at the best of his career in 96, 97, maybe even early 98, or in 98. Then he kind of took the dip down. And,
not to say he wasn't still good.
No,
but
not saying that at all. But, evolving, and then, probably thanks to DDP Yoga or whatever he's doing now. I don't know.
Yeah.
The regimen that he's on now, he's ridiculous now.
Yeah.
He's great. Couldn't be happier for him. Son Dominic, Jesus Christ, that kid. Wow.
Huge. Didn't get the short gene, did he?
Yeah. All right, what do we got up next?
Just a couple of notes. So, obviously, Team Angle retains during that match.
Yeah.
Fun little anecdote during that match, how they mentioned that, during the three suplexes that, there's no hockey team in Seattle, but they know about hat tricks. Well, there's going to be a hockey team in Seattle in the next year, which is kind of ironic. I like the spot where they had the frog splash to break up a pin.
Yes,
that was
very, very nice.
But good match.
I felt like that took a little bit too long though to get up to, but Guerrero's coming off the top rope. It's got to take time.
Yeah, so not a great match, but as we're seeing, and I think the theme of this WrestleMania is, you don't have anything that's below acceptable. It was acceptable. Could it have been better with some different, combatants? Sure, but it was a nice watch.
It was a good match. Yeah.
So now we get to, I think, is your pinnacle of the show. And obviously we're going to have more about this match later, and we're not going to get into any specifics with the next segment of our show. But we've got Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid.
No, we forgot something.
Oh.
You were gonna skip over it.
I was going to skip over it.
You did this on purpose.
You know what? Here. The floor is yours, Tim.
So before we get to the vignette of
yours.
Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho, there's a little skit up on the stage to kind of bring everybody down. I said a skit. Oh, you're doing the quotation. Okay. There's the Jonathan Coachman up there, and there's a bed sitting there on the stage, because, you know, who doesn't have a bed already set to go, ready for anything? And we got the Miller Lite Catholic girls coming out. They're going to get it on in bed. And then Stacy Keibler comes out. And then Tori Wilson comes out. Playboy cover girl, Tori Wilson. Wish it was Stacy Keibler. Sorry about that. Damn you, Eric Bischoff. You know what I'm talking about. Talked her out of it. Did you hear about that story? I'll tell you offline.
No.
Alright, I'll tell you about that later.
Oh, jeez.
So, anyway, they know, and this is what it is. That was kind of the come down, you know, little bathroom break, whatever you want to call it. Got to see Coach in his underwear. Well, you know, we're trying to give them a detailed play-by-play here of what's going on.
Yep.
You forgot the segment. Just thought it was important. You know, we got
No,
to see.
I think I just voluntarily didn't take notes about it.
Well, that's fine.
Because I just skipped right past it.
Well, because you should have. All right. But I wanted to make sure that our fans out there knew that we're actually watching the show and that we're paying attention to what's going on.
If you want to see, some brown panties, there's a short little tad bit you can watch.
Tiddy bit nipply out there.
Yeah.
In Safeco Field, March 31st.
But anyway, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Yes.
Chris Jericho. Starts off with a great video package. Video package about.
This is the first match on the card that had a vignette or a video package.
Yep.
I say vignette. I don't know if it's
so. I mean, no, and it goes into how Jericho idolized Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
Wanted to be Shawn Michaels. They show a great side.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Yeah.
Of Shawn Michaels when he was younger.
Yeah. The rocker.
Yep, exactly. And then they go into how you attacked me, I attacked you, blah blah blah. I wanted to be you, and then Jericho, eventually gets
I wanted to be Shawn Michaels.
I wanted to be Shawn Michaels. Now I want to be the first Chris Jericho. And then it goes. Every part of it's great. I'm not gonna word by word say what they say, but it's a great way to do it. A great way to go into a match. And if you have a casual viewer who's just tuning in, just bought WrestleMania, buys like the Big Four, and is not watching the Raw or the SmackDown consistently, it told you everything you needed to know going into the match.
Yeah. I thought it was phenomenal.
Yep.
Absolutely phenomenal. Can't say anything bad about it.
Yep. So Shawn Michaels comes out. Just me nitpicking. Not one of my favorite Shawn Michaels entrances.
No, it was a little weird, wasn't it?
I hate when they do the fireworks in the ring. I prefer.
No.
Now, can I pipe in on something?
Sure.
Matthew has all these in his notes because he has this for the segment. So maybe instead of going into the full thing, we save this match for later when Matthew has to discuss it for his.
Well, we're live, so we have to make a decision really quick here.
Okay. All right, I'll make the executive decision.
You go.
So we have a segment later on involving this match. So what we'll do is we will save some notes about this match, but we'll get into it a little bit further. But at least the video package, portion of it was fine. So let's skip ahead. Had a lot of notes about this match, by the way. So let's go to. Oh Lord, I have to go into this now.
Oh God!
Another Limp Bizkit performance. Thanks. Matt.
Another another performance from WWE's favorite band, but not in the whole world this time. Tony Chimmel just said WWE's favorite band.
Yeah,
Limp, and here to perform their new hit song,
Crack
Addict.
The official theme of WrestleMania was Crack Addict.
I'm addicted to crack it out. Don't start it.
2003 at best.
Static.
So obviously we got through.
Built like a Chevy.
We got through that. I just wrote, "Dear fucking God."
Yeah, I went up and cleaned my room almost for that part. Yeah.
And actually, Tim, you know what, Tim?
What?
So no, I didn't.
What?
The cat fight was after Jericho. I have written.
Was it after that?
Yeah. So you know what?
Was
Tim?
I out of order?
This gets right after Jericho.
No, I'm saying the cat fight was after Limp Bizkit's performance.
Oh, okay. Got it.
When you
Did I screw that up?
Interrupted me and said
I
I
screw
skipped
that up?
something. I actually wrote down that
Cat
the
fight
cat fight
next?
was next, and then I said, and then this is what I wrote.
I
No
wanted-
comment, not worth consideration.
I wanted to talk about it, so I jumped ahead. That was after the.
It was on his mind the
All
entire
right,
time.
I'm sorry.
So you know,
My bad, guys. My bad.
yeah,
You know where my priorities
you're
lie.
bad.
My priorities.
These are Tim's priorities.
Yep. Yes, it
The
is.
soundboard is the greatest addition to our show of all time.
So where are we going next here, Michael?
We're going into the portion of the show where I'm going to have an aneurysm.
Is this your time?
It is. This is my time.
All right.
Okay?
Well,
I want it
I'm
to
gonna
go down.
reboot. I'm gonna rebut.
We've got Triple H, the Game, versus Booker T for the World Heavyweight title.
Yes, sir.
Tim, I have a love-hate relationship with this match.
Oh yeah.
Starts off with a decent promo package, not the Jericho Shawn one, but it goes into, Booker, his upbringing a little bit, how he had a jail spell for robbery, and then the whole back and forth with Triple H saying people like him aren't good enough to be champion. Obviously, some racial overtones in terms of what they were doing. I'll get into.
Can't do that nowadays.
I'll get into why the result of the match didn't do the storyline justice, but obviously with this match, with these two guys being together, I mean, I had read, and who knows if it's true or not, but that obviously, I think somebody with like Scott Steiner was originally lined up to be Triple H's
Original opponent. Okay.
And Booker T was kind of a late choice because Steiner obviously
wasn't
had a
getting
ton
over.
of issues,
Yeah.
injury issues, concerns. Booker T at this point was, very good, if not hot, as a babyface.
Yeah.
He was doing pretty well. Very good match. I love this match from a entertainment standpoint. A lot of good spots. Obviously, Ric Flair gets involved, and in the middle of the match...
Flair has no business up there, damn it!
Exactly. We see the Indian Deathlock in that match.
Dude, I thought that was a great move, though.
It was. It is.
The match told a great story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, looking back at it like we did here, two guys who, at that time, were kind of at the top of their game. And, could that match may have main evented or went on last? I don't know. But,
Was it Booker T's best solo match?
in WWE?
Yes.
Oh, God. Yeah. It very well could have been, yeah. He's had I think he had a couple matches with Benoit later that were pretty good for the U.S. title. It probably was one of his shining moments, in WWE for sure.
Yeah.
Albeit in a losing effort.
So, I wrote down, so obviously Booker started hot in this match.
Yeah. Your punk ass is in trouble.
Yeah, so then
Your punk ass is in trouble.
He gets thrown to the outside. Triple H is distracting the referee, and Flair takes Booker over to the ring steps and hurts him on the left knee. And then that became...
No. Rick was trying to help him back in the ring.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Right,
Sorry,
yeah,
he was
yeah.
trying to help him. And that becomes a theme for the rest of the match.
Yep.
It affected the whole match and the story of the match, which he did a fantastic job. So, obviously, the left knee, there's a spot where Booker falls down just from a turnbuckle to turnbuckle throw, which is a great spot. A scissors kick, but he was that he hit and was unable to get over in time just because of the knee pain to get the pin secured. Flair constantly interjecting himself into this match in terms of cheating. Helps Triple H get his foot on the rope to avoid a 1-2-3. Booker eventually tries late in that match another scissors kick and fails. Pedigree. Game. And the pedigree, and this is one of the parts that I'm going to talk about, which I hated this part of the match.
How long it took?
Is that after the pedigree, Triple H, was laying there for 20 seconds before he applies the pin, and Booker still takes the 1-2-3.
Takes the count, yep.
Which was absurd. Absurd. But before, I talk about my little gist with this, go ahead. What do you thought?
Well, I was hoping that you were gonna, you were going to defend your side first, and I would defend mine. Just have a little
fun.
Okay,
you want me to defend it?
No, I was going to have a little fun with
how ridiculous it is that Booker T lost his match?
No. I agree with you. I agree. I was just going to...
I told the man himself, Tim, didn't I not?
You sure did, and I loved it. And he just kind of was like, yep, I told you. No, going back to the video package that we talked about a few minutes ago. Knowing that what we know now, so I know we're going back in time, but we're reviewing this, but what we know now, does that video package not set up Booker T defeating the odds and coming from the hardships that he had as a kid and the wrong choices and everything that they said? That video package
is a babyface video package.
Thank you. And who walks out the champion that you wouldn't agree with
winning
this?
and losing it the next night?
100%.
That's exactly what I would have done.
100%.
If Triple H is your long-term plan, that's
fine.
You give that guy that moment on the biggest stage.
You give the crowd the pop. You give the guy what he wants, that big, huge fight feel, victory feel.
Yep.
That, the jubilation of that victory. Then you cut him out, and then you have the rematch. Like you said, there was no rematch. What did they go from?
Or at most, you give them to the next pay-per-view.
They had a 6-man tag match at that Backlash pay-per-view in 2003, I believe. Anyway, God. Yeah, it made no sense.
But it's one of the biggest injustices I've ever watched.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yep.
It was absurd that he lost that match.
That's what happens when you got talent mingling with the boss's daughter. Let's leave it at that.
But it makes me angry to this day. Because I love that match. And I hate it.
They told a great story, and for it to end the way that it ended
was absurd.
Bad taste in your mouth.
Terrible.
Taking nothing away from the match, though. And nothing away from the...
And you know what? Speaking of 83 weeks with Eric Bischoff, often he talks about how WCW, they sucked at endings, right?
Sure.
Sucked at endings of matches. The ending of the match totally ruined what could have been...
Yes.
Great.
Sorry about that.
What was that? We don't know what that was.
I was checking the screen, making sure it was okay.
Technical difficulties.
We are back with you live now.
So I've made my peace with it. I talked to Booker about it at a convention. I told him he should have went over. And
Icons of Wrestling, guys. Check it out. Coming back in June, actually, in 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. Check it out.
What?
Oh, you didn't know that? Bombshell just dropped here on PWO Podcast here.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, we met Booker T back in January of last year, along with a couple other guys, Sting and Jake the Snake Roberts, just to drop a few names. We'll pause so you can pick them up.
What?
And we're back. So, guys, check them out. Icons of Wrestling. You guys rock. We loved it. We will be back. We promise.
Okay.
What do we got next? You are not sponsoring us yet, Icons, but we would love your sponsorship.
So next up is going to be you taking...
Oh, yeah! Yeah! Dig it!
That's our official promoter, by the way. We're brought to you by Slim Jims and Quaker Oats.
Step into a Slim Jim.
We don't have a Quaker Oats sounder, though, unfortunately.
Hold on, but we have this, though.
Yeah, the cream of the crop.
That works perfectly.
There you go.
This is going to be your little segment, because as I told you when I was doing my recap, I don't know. I just couldn't get into Hulk Hogan versus Vince McMahon, and found myself skipping through the match because of general disinterest, and I was hoping you can tell me.
It's me, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, the match was what it was. I think it was really nicely done because you knew it was going to be a bloodbath. You knew it was going to be like a war. You weren't expecting a 5-star catch-as-catch-can style match like some of the other matches that we'll get into later on tonight. But for what it was, highly entertaining. The freaking ladder through the table bump that Vince takes with the leg drop on Hogan. I mean, just Jesus Christ, I don't know how old he was at the time, but god damn, you give him credit. The thing that really, really, really stood out to me in this match, well, I guess kind of two things. One, Roddy Piper's involvement in that. I mean, the crowd went banana, and it was unreal. it was great to see him back. And it's just one of those things where, you could kind of see it. Looking back on it, and maybe that I knew he hits Hogan with the pipe. You could kind of tell that he was going to probably hit Hogan the way that he was. So that wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but the decision of who was he going to hit, the way that they kind of played it out, like I said, kind of tipped the hat that he was going to hit Hogan. But that was just cool to see him back, man. Yeah. It was really cool to see him back. Obviously, he wasn't in great shape, but it was just just for the old school nostalgia feel. This match had it. 20 years they were building the match as 20 years in the making. I think it was probably closer to 18 or 19 years in the making. But, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story or the numbers get in the way of a good story. I think, for two guys who, Vince obviously is never going to be up for Wrestler of the Year type of thing, or never would have been up for Wrestler of the Year. Hogan, not your best wrestler per se. That match wasn't supposed to be a wrestling match. It was supposed to be a fight. It was supposed to be a bitter feud, and I think it gave it what they gave the fans what they wanted. And Hogan with the 3 or 4 leg drops on McMahon for the finish. Apropos the Shane McMahon involvement, though, kind of little interesting little thing. Was that real? Was it not supposed to? They never really elaborated on that or never really expanded on that. So kind of was he even supposed to be down there type of thing? Who knows?
I loved
it was cool interaction, right?
Yeah, well, I loved when Shane came down and Hogan, pushes down on the rope to let him in, and Hogan's face told, he
told the story.
He told the story.
Yep.
Very good with his facial expressions.
Yeah.
Just nobody ever talks about it. It just always, especially when he gets bloodied up, man. Does
There's
really
something about the immortal Hulk Hogan.
Exactly.
And he shined on this night, WrestleMania 19.
So we're gonna take a quick 2-minute break, and we will be right back to talk about the rest of the show.
All right.
You good stuff.
He's had a couple. I think he had a couple matches with Benoit later.
Mm-hmm. Fucking God.
Yeah, I went up and cleaned my room almost for that part. Yeah,
and actually,
knew at that time how to play the game on that one.
And we'll get into that during the match. He did a masterful job as well. So next
matches that would have been up for us.
You good stuff.
Matches that would have been up for us.
You good stuff.
Matches that would have been up for us.
You good stuff. We are back. Our first break.
Yeah. On YouTube.
I enjoy that.
They're good.
I needed a refresher.
Yes, sir.
So we just ended on Vince McMahon versus Hulk Hogan, and now we get into a huge match. We've got Rock Austin 3.
Yeah.
3 times in a lifetime.
Was that how that was built?
Yeah. Video package backed by Crack Addict by Limp Bizkit, which kind of totally ruined it for me.
That ruined it for you? Really? That didn't get you hyped for this match? Wow.
Okay package. Obviously, the story was, Rock being Hollywood Rock, people turning against him. He's never beaten Austin at WrestleMania in 2 attempts. Not much more to say. You can add to
hold
it.
on. Yeah, I think the real story was it was Austin's last match, and he kind of handpicked The Rock to be that guy. I think, obviously, the storyline driven was what you just spoke about, but the behind the scenes, I believe, timetable might be close to being. My timetable might be a little bit off, but Austin knew the time was close, and I believe I heard this on one of his DVDs box sets that the night before he was in the hospital, he had passed out or fell down or something, and he was having a heart complication. He was in the hospital the night before WrestleMania.
Like all the drinking, I think it was.
Well, yeah, it could have been. It very well could have been that. And they didn't know if he was going to make the damn match. So, which makes this match, in my mind, even more of an impressive endeavor, because when you're laying in a hospital bed and you don't know what the hell's going to happen minute by minute even, and then next thing you know, you're out in front of 54,000 people tearing the house down with the most electrifying man in entertainment, God, chill bumps, if you will, chill bumps. Gorilla Monsoon.
So it's a match that starts hot.
Yeah.
Austin comes out flying.
Yeah.
Boom, boom,
guns
boom,
a-blazing.
Boom. Yeah, he's on top of the Rock for about a good 5 minutes, I would say. And then that's when the match changes. Austin's talking to a ref, and Rock, I believe, goes for the chop block on the left knee. And that, like the earlier match, which we'll get into later. Actually, we did actually.
No, Triple H.
Triple H. Yeah,
the
injury angle again plays a part of it, which made me think. That's something you don't see it today, or at least you don't see it very often. Or a theme in matches and staying consistent through a match in terms of how they use it to build the story of the match. It doesn't resonate as much.
Even some of your top notch guys don't know the art of professional wrestling and how to tell a story. All they're thinking of is the next big dive off the top rope, or the next German suplex, or whatever you want to call it. They're thinking the next big spot that's going to make the crowd go, "Oh my god!" I'm not saying you have to be like, in a nerve hold for 6 minutes on the ground to build anticipation or whatever. I'm not saying that. That's on a whole nother scale. But no one knows how to tell a story that much. That's why guys like Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, in my mind, and a host of others, are so missed right now. Whether because they passed away or just inactive, but they don't know how to tell. These guys today don't know how to tell a story. I think that's the biggest issue with wrestling today. That's why we do these podcasts, to talk about the good times, but also let you know we ain't happy with what's going on unless you're AEW.
And that's your Tim Hanksman Get Off My Lawn moment of the day, brought to you by Quaker Oats.
Yeah, the cream of the crop.
Ooh, yeah.
So Rockin', back to the match, starts working the knee. You've got a chop block, uses the ring post, and then Tim, which I've been really looking forward to, applies the sharpshooter. One of your favorite things in the world is the Rock's sharpshooter. How was this version?
Oh god, it looked like Bret Hart in WrestleMania 13 all over it. No, Jesus Christ. I can't even say that with a straight face. What move is worse? That's question's been brought up to me. Or what gimmick infringement move is worse? The Rock sharpshooter or Mrs. Figure 4, I will still stand by the Mrs. Figure 4 sucks. Pales in comparison to the Rock Sharpshooter, but good golly, son. You would think being in the wrestling business for as long as you were, Dwayne, you learn how to fucking apply a sharpshooter that was convincing.
I just want it to be known that I love you, Dwayne. And he's just a hater. I would love to see you.
You turned your back on me when you went to Hollywood.
I noted that JR did a great job during this match. This is
one
of the moments he stood out on a platform like this with a match with these types of stakes.
This is WrestleMania, but this is WrestleMania. Oh, no, that was the other match. Yeah, but the old King. Oh, yeah.
Just, in terms of calling the match, but, using, the numerous references, calling back to, again, Austin versus Hart. He called during that sharpshooter. Mm-hmm. He knows how to let a match be a match. Story. Yep. Knows how to tell a story and bring passion to it.
I think something that, another thing that resonates with me throughout this whole show is another reason why it is my favorite WrestleMania of all time is the commentary throughout. Mm-hmm. I think both sets of King and JR, along with Taz and Michael Cole, were probably both at the top of their career, at the peak of their career.
Two-man booths.
Well,
go back to it, please.
Now you
hashtag two-man booths. Trend it on the Twitter. The Twitter.
Do you think that was Michael Cole's best partner? Because JR could probably carry a show all on his own, but Michael Cole, usually having a partner, it elevates him. Taz is his best partner.
I think I actually like JBL as his best partner.
Oh, you think? Okay.
Yeah, I think that works a little bit better. But Taz was right there at that time. Taz was still growing into being a commentator at that point. Mm-hmm. Very young in that field, but they both did great. And we'll talk about this in the next match. But yeah, I think that Taz is definitely right up there in the conversation. Mm-hmm. I think it's a preference on who you like as a commentator as far as the next person goes. But yeah, it was definitely good. All four of those guys were great in their own respective ways.
So one of my favorite moments comes up. Rock puts on Austin's vest.
Yes.
Which is classic. Classic moment.
Yup. But he wasn't bulletproof, was he?
No,
he wasn't.
He wasn't bulletproof. But, I mean, things like
awesome.
that he did.
Yes.
When he got up, he slapped his thigh and was talking to the crowd. Rock, man, so many things stood out in terms of his interaction.
That's the entertainer that he is, man.
Yeah. Stood out. One of the spots I'll tell you I didn't like out of this great match is when they each used their own finishers against each other. And we'll talk about it during another match later. I liked it in one match, and I didn't like it. I didn't feel it was appropriate for this match. Because I didn't think it fit. I didn't think there was any rhyme or reason for why.
It was kind of forced or just...
I just didn't think there was a reason for it.
Well, but they've done it throughout their career. And again, this match, looking back on it so many years later, this match was just like Hogan and McMahon was. This match was kind of the nostalgic match of the show. You don't think of it that way because they were both prime, right? Even though Rock wasn't, full time and Austin was in the end point of his career, that was the nostalgic match for WrestleMania because they were going back to things that they did in their prior matches, which was flipping each other off and, Rock, making fun of Austin or, stuff like that, to where they were using the same stuff. They both did each other's finishers at 15 and I believe at 17. So it was the culmination of that. So why not? I think, though, and this maybe just, just because I want it to be, I could be wrong. I feel like this was probably that first match, or like the first rivalry that, if you will, where you saw the other guys use the other stars' finishers once, twice throughout the match.
Yeah.
We've been to a couple shows where they've used the same thing over and over and over again. 15 rock bottoms, 6 FUs or attitude adjustments. So I think that's maybe the beginning of that. Yeah. Right or wrong, you be the judge.
Now, John, you were making a face at me as I made that comment, so you obviously strongly disagree.
You have an opinion?
I just thought that worked really strongly in the match. Considering it was their last match, it was fitting.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, that's what that basically.
It's just my personal.
I think
you are
it
entitled.
Fit the Rock. I think it fit the Rock.
Well, Austin did it first, though.
But it fit.
Austin did it first.
No, I'm saying I think it fit the Rock. That's all I'm saying.
But it doesn't fit the Rock if Austin does it first.
I thought it fit.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
I thought it fit for both of them because they fought each other. They fought each other twice before, and it's like they're really digging into their bag of tricks to be like, "What the hell? I gotta get this."
Well. I'll take the handicap match that I'm in right now. I disagree with all of you. I thought it.
Well, just wait for just wait for the outside interference, and you'll come out on top.
I think Stone Cold's may have been a little forced, whereas Rock.
Well, Stone Cold's application of the Rock bottom was much better than Rock's.
No, but he was
not sharpshooter.
Oh,
even his.
I'm still on that. I'm sorry.
No, but he was a Hollywood guy. He was trying to show off, So he's trying to steal the thunder.
Matt gets it. He's entertaining.
Man,
Go ahead.
Matthew does get it.
Electric.
So obviously, crowd continues to be hot. I like the Austin no quit, which JR did a great job of
selling
that and helping sell the match in terms of it taking 3 rock bombs,
3 or 4,
to finish off the Rock.
Eventually, I think it was 4. All total.
And then obviously, the best part of the match was the end of the match after the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
With Rock leaning over Austin,
pushing
Earl Hebner pretty much out. Yeah,
not once, but twice.
And I was talking to him, and they haven't revealed, and that will stay private between them what was said.
Pretty much, I think it was like "I love you" type of thing. Thank you, and hope you're okay type of stuff.
Obviously, a tremendous amount of respect, and they've talked about how they've had some small issues, but I think there was ultimately a lot of respect between those two.
Yeah, kind of like us. It was they well, call a spade here. No, absolutely. I think they were friends outside the ring, but they had that competitiveness.
Yep.
And the desire to be the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what made the rivalry what it was. And just these two young, well, also maybe a little bit older, I'm not really sure, but 2 young hungry lions. And, it was magic for 3-4 years. Obviously we had a couple injuries through that time, but, God, what could have been and what was, I would take what was.
And it ended, that was a fitting last.
Absolutely. You can tell in Austin's eyes, too, when Rock leaves and, and Austin's coming up the ramp and his music goes and he's up on the top of the stage saluting everybody.
Like, everybody says they want him back, and I think he can. He could possibly if he wanted to, but I don't think he should. Mm-hmm. I thought he ended on the perfect note with the perfect opponent.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels shouldn't have came back either, but that's another topic.
Not this show.
No, not this show. That's going to be in our archives eventually.
So obviously, that a major moment of the show.
Yeah.
But we still have a main event, surprisingly.
Yeah. That was such a
loaded show. It was, but the title match, typically
title's got to go last. Yep.
So
unless you're Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow, we go on last.
So we've got Brock Lesnar versus the soon-to-be retiring Kurt Angle. And Tim, I'm going to let you, jump into it. Obviously, so Brock, won the Rumble, right? A lot of hijinks between them, the fake angle.
Yeah, a couple really cool spots on the SmackDown that they did.
So going into this match, Lesnar's ribs are hurt going in. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, why don't you speak to, I guess, the story going into it, and, we'll get into the match.
Well, I think it was kind of clear-cut that Lesnar was going to be the guy, at least going in for the foreseeable future. Winning the Rumble, and then he was going to be the top guy, at least on SmackDown. You can't beat Triple H because can't talk about that. Sorry. But he's going to be number 2, at least Brock Lesnar. The build-up was really cool. Some of the vignette that they showed, kind of recapping, like you talked about the Rumble and the fake switch that they had and the gauntlet match that Lesnar had to go through to fight Angle, and that was really cool shit. And ahead of their time maybe, or again, new and exciting, and just that's what made us a fan. That's what kept us entertained this whole era of wrestling. The match I thought was phenomenal. I don't know what Dave Meltzer would gave it in the torch, but it had to at least be a 4.5, possibly 5-star, no pun intended, match. I think and this is the type of match that I appreciate now, is this style. Two guys, a little bit of chain wrestling, a little bit of the whole drama and stuff like that. Again, they've kind of focused on the ribs a little bit, created an injury. And as far as Lesnar goes, pronouns, pal. Bruce Pritchard, that's for you. Just creating that whole aspect, is Lesnar going to be able to overcome this? And, some of the stretches, some of the holds that Angle was putting them in, some of the counters that they both were doing. I know we talked about this, in the last match, but, it kind of worked here, the opposite of, in your mind, right, with Austin and Rock doing their finishers. It seemed to work here with Angle doing, I don't know if Angle, but with Lesnar doing the Angle Slam and things of that nature, just little stuff like that. It worked, and I just thought it was top notch. The one thing that I do want to stress is it's amazing to me at the end of this match
how Brock almost handicapped himself.
How we may not be watching Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 35. If you guys go back on the WWE Network, fire this up, and watch after he does this at 5. Kurt is he's not even mid-ring. He's on the other side of the ring almost. He's on the third part of the ring. I don't know what that's called, but he's not half. He's not in the mid-ring. Lesnar goes to the other side, and I know he's done it back in I don't know, it was FCW, what it was called at the time, but what it is NXT now. He's done it in that. Jeez, it damn near broke his neck. Could have freaking died. But that was just the sacrifice that I think these guys were willing to make to put on a hell of a performance. And I mean, Jesus Christ, for him to kick out, God knows who. I don't think he knew where he was for a good 10 minutes. Because if you see the facial expression,
you saw his face after he won.
Correct, right? And then you have to go to Plan B.
You can't tell if it's selling or not.
So you have to go to Plan B. He comes up and he F5s him, and that's 1, 2, 3. Over.
Did he officially have a concussion or anything?
Oh yeah, I don't recall. I don't have that in my notes. I don't have any notes anyway, but I don't have that in my notes. He had to at least have a stinger and a concussion. I would think. I mean, you could just tell in his eyes he didn't know what the hell he was. The cool thing about me was after obviously he won, fireworks shooting off, and to end the show, they kind of embrace and they hug. They shake hands first, I believe, and then they hug. I mean, that's cool. To me, that's what the competition is all about. You had 2.5 months of build up where I hate you, I'm taking a 2x4 to your ribs and all that kind of stuff. But it was cool to kind of see, I guess the characters be broken almost, or maybe they found a new respect for each other, which I think is what they ended up going with in storyline for a little while. I thought that was a really, really cool way, just kind of very similar to what they do the following year, WrestleMania 20, with Benoit and Eddie embracing at the end. Two guys who have given it their all for 20 plus minutes over the richest prize in the business. The better man won, in that case being Brock Lesnar, on that night, and there's respect.
Yeah, no, great match. Crazy that it probably was the second or third best match of the show.
Yeah.
The only other note I had is that, and this is one thing that I just can't stand that Michael Cole does, speaking of, he had a good performance that night, but when he does, and this is it, the champion will retain the title and then Lesnar kicked out. I can't.
That's like Vince McMahon. 1, 2, and 3. Oh no, kicked out.
I can't stand predictive announcing. Just
gotta let it go.
Let it be and call what happens, please, for the love of
call the match. Be a Joey Styles and call the match.
God. But no.
Oh my God!
Really, really good WrestleMania.
Oh
really
yeah,
good.
yeah.
We haven't even got to the best match.
Well,
the best.
We've been saving that for a really special. But let's kind of just maybe put a bow on the Mania part of it.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into the second portion of this special YouTube version of the PWO. Yeah, I mean, for me, this thing was just phenomenal. I know I gave some grief on it here earlier in some of the matches, but, like I said, from top to bottom, from beginning to end, from that opening vignette all the way to the final package of, again, with the shaking of the hands and the embrace from Angle and Lesnar and the little video package at the end. This thing's, in my mind, it's top notch. It ranks probably top 5, at least, in all-time WrestleManias. If it doesn't, shame on you guys.
Short of musings, I thought Safeco, it was, again, really cool having a really cool atmosphere in the baseball stadium. The crowd was hot.
Yes. Yes.
Another anecdote, I thought Big Show, he does a better leg drop than Hulk Hogan. That's just my opinion.
In 2003, probably.
Really, he had a really good leg drop.
Yep. Yep.
But I mean, that's it. Good show.
Let's put a bow on it. WrestleMania 19. Go check it out. WWE Network. It's going to be awesome.
So without further ado, we're getting into the next segment of the show, which we've eagerly been anticipating. So when we sat down for our business meeting a couple weeks ago to talk about the show and the format, we came up with a concept. I'm not sure whose idea it was.
It was Matt's.
Yeah.
Was it your idea?
It was.
It was.
Yeah, all right, well, that's up for it.
We're not sure who came up with the idea.
But regardless, the idea was take your casual viewer or non-viewer of WWE or whatever, wrestling and say, if we were going to introduce you to one match to get you hooked and watch the following night or to watch more wrestling, what would be the match that you propose that person watch? So each of us, Tim, John, and I, had to come up with one match. Very simple rules. It couldn't be within the last 5 years, and it could not involve The Undertaker, who Matthew has a bias towards as his favorite wrestler.
I wanted it to be Mean Mark, but I was shot down on that too.
Or it could have been Kane The Undertaker.
Oh, very good. There we go.
Hey! But anyway. But regardless, so let's real quick, before we let Matthew take over the show here, John, match you chose.
No. I think this should be...
You should wait.
No, I think we need to wait.
No, we're not talking about it. We're just saying what matches we chose.
No, I don't want to know.
Here's the thing. I'm going to talk through them, and then let me guess.
Could you believe these motherfuckers?
We still don't know what we're doing.
This is my goddamn show.
Well, guess what?
Okay.
It's my
whatever. Go to the big view of these fuckers. Am I on the little screen?
We're back.
All right, now go ahead.
Turning it over to the producers.
I'm going to relax.
Our job is halfway done.
All right.
You guys go.
So, I'm going to start off with the first match I was given, which was WrestleMania 19.
Oh, hold on, real quick, though. So, Matthew did not know
who
chose what. So, we sent him an email with the times to watch from the shows that were chosen. So, there's no bias in this. He knows not who gave him the matches, and obviously he's picking based off of his own stupid-ass criteria, probably. But go ahead.
You've succumbed.
And I have not seen any of these matches prior.
Okay.
So the first match, WrestleMania 19, Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels.
We should do an episode.
Being discussed earlier, they're talking about the intro package. It's Chris Jericho and Shawn Michaels. It's talking about, it's really building up how both of them had this big ego. And it's a battle of egos between the two. And Jericho's trying to make himself stand out as the first Chris Jericho, not being just a duplicate of Shawn Michaels. And he's talking about trying to end Shawn Michaels' career. So that's kind of angle they're going with the match. Jericho comes in, he's very dismissive, he's very focused on the all about me kind of thing. Doesn't give a shit about the crowd, which is exactly where he should have been. And then Shawn Michaels comes in, And contrary to Michael's belief about how he didn't, or not, his opinion, I actually liked Shawn Michaels' entrance. He's firing the cannons. He's playing off.
Can I say he's firing the bad blasters?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember what they're the Johnny B. Bad, Mark Marrow? That's for you.
Yeah, they look
like
mini t-shirt cannons or whatever. 2 of them didn't go off, but he kind of played it off very well. There's one moment he's like holding his like, please God go off, and it shot off. And then he comes in, he's flexing, he's high-fiving, it was all around 3 minutes, but I was into it. It worked. And then, the crowd's on Shawn's side at the beginning of the match, and Jericho's kind of like bragging about himself, like as he's like knocking Shawn down. But during the match, it's really very equally matched. It's one move per one move, back and forth until eventually, I think, it was Jericho takes control outside the ring. He applied walls Jericho to Shawn outside the ring, and he kept coming back in and going out just to keep the ring count going, and does some pretty impressive leaps off the ropes and stuff like that. And he's soaking in all the crowd hate, and then what happens is and then one cool moment was Jericho, he's like pinning him, he's like flexing up there. 1, 2, he's expecting the 3 does not come.
Come on, baby!
And eventually you move on later in the match, there's like momentum shift, Shawn comes in, starts beating Jericho up, and Jericho back and forth, and the crowd's real into it, and then Jerry talks. Jerry ruins the momentum. For one line for me was it real or was it Memorex? I was like, shut up, Jerry. And another thing
shut up, you damn Hall of Famer.
I am sorry, but and then they kept talking about the back of Shawn Michaels, and they kept saying it like that because the angle was his back was hurt.
Yeah,
the guy was out for years with a back injury.
No, but it was
Jesus.
It was enough.
All right.
When that's the only thing you hear for several minutes on end, there's a fantastic match going on inside, and they're just talking about his back.
The casual viewer is now shitting on some of the greatest storytelling ever told.
No, it's not.
I'll be back.
No.
You suck.
I have no problem. I have no problem with them talking about his back. But that's all they talked about. There was a match going on. It was a fantastic match. And that's really...
Okay, anyway, continue.
So that was the focus, and then, they have very natural reversals, and doesn't look very forced, whereas today it kind of looks like there's quite a few botches, and it doesn't look as natural as it did back. Like, obviously, there's going to be botch jobs.
Yeah.
But... Anyway, so then the Sweet Chin music comes in by Jericho, which was fantastically done.
Okay.
I digged it. And then later, Shawn Michaels came in, he faked like he was going to do walls of Jericho and then the back tossing. So, anyway, going later, Jerry comes in again, says it ain't Limp Bizkit, it's Shawn Michaels. Why, as Shawn Michaels is trying to do a Sweet Chin music. So again, momentum ruined again.
That's going on the soundboard.
So I guess this match isn't getting chosen.
No, let's. And then, and the thing that they did well back then too.
I came back. I don't know why.
The 3 counts. They get it very close to the 3 count, where it's a natural 1, 2, and you're actually waiting to see, like, is he actually going to get out of it or not? Whereas today, it's very obvious a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. 1, 2.
Good observation.
So then, the match eventually ends. Shawn Michaels pins Jericho in the roll-up. Roll-up's not my favorite, but here it was actually well done. It was a very fast-paced match between the two, so the role felt natural in the scheme of things.
Okay.
And then, and then Shawn Michaels extends his hand, Jericho low blows him after a hug, and then walks off.
Okay. So real quick, we had some commentary obviously about this match. So let's take it back from the beginning. Again, we talked about the great video package. I was getting into the fireworks, so I don't like the in-ring fireworks. I like the Shawn Michaels on his knees.
Sure, the outside
fireworks at the ramp. I always
preferred
that versus ring. One thing I noticed. So obviously the big thing in a match, much to what Matthew didn't like, was the play on injuries.
He must not have liked this WrestleMania very well.
I was only not okay with
No, you're allowed to have your opinion, man.
We're just talking here. We're just talking here.
So obviously Michaels worked Jericho's left leg. One thing I noticed, and I put in this, so there were a lot of moves at the rope, springboard moves.
Yeah.
But you know what I didn't notice this whole match, and I made sure to note this. There was not one suicide dive this whole pay-per-view. If this was a WWE pay-per-view in 2019...
We would have had 16
there
or
would
17
have been
different...
two a match. Minimum.
Absolutely.
It was refreshing not seeing a suicide dive.
Yeah.
Because I despise the suicide dive.
They're so dangerous at this point.
But not only that, but there's a variety of things you could do with the rope that are not suicide dives.
And these guys...
And they feel forced, and nothing felt forced in this match, if you realized it. Jericho worked Michaels back, obviously, like Matthew mentioned. Started with the walls outside the ring. He went to the vertical suplex, the backbreaker. Again, a great job by JR highlighting all this in terms of the injuries. Jericho was emulating Michaels, mocking him at the same time. You had the Hurricanrana reverse into the walls of Jericho, which was a really nice
spot.
Really cool spot. Yes. The mocking of him tuning up the bands. Everything he was doing was that, hey, I grew up and idolized you, but now I'm better than
I'm doing it better. Exactly. I'm doing it better than you. It's 100%. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
How, and how JR mentioned, what a wrestling match. This was a wrestling fans wrestling match.
Yep. It wasn't an entertainment match. It was for the wrestlers. It wasn't for the superstars. It was for the wrestlers.
Yep.
But thing to note in there too is it was a good beginning to end, and it left something for if it was a first time viewing. It said this feud is continuing.
What's going to happen next?
They walk off. The low blow kind of continues it. Makes you want to see the next.
Oh, that was a funny spot, and then having to be carried off by little Nate after
Charles Robinson. Yeah.
But the match itself, I think it was by far the best match of the night.
Yep.
Two guys who know how to tell a story in the ring.
Unbelievable.
One's the not even pupil, but somebody who's emulated. Shawn Michaels is the veteran, and he's got this young gun going for his spot.
First WrestleMania in 5 years for Shawn Michaels. His first WrestleMania after coming back from the back injury. That's why they worked it into the match.
I understand.
No, I know. I'm just clarification.
I like you, Sean.
For me, this is probably, if it's not my favorite match, it's 1A, maybe 2 of all time. I think it's just absolutely phenomenal. It shows, think of where Chris Jericho is now. I think this was right when he kind of truly figured it out, even more so. Not saying he wasn't talented in earlier days, but I think this was almost his coming out party. And I think Shawn was the perfect buffer for that. And they both played off each other phenomenal. And I'll let the cat out of the bag. If you couldn't figure it out by now, I was the one who picked Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 19.
I saw.
So, but yeah, I mean, it is, unbelievable, guys. If you go back and watch nothing else on the WWE network, and they're not paying us to do this because, quite frankly, we're just doing this in a back patio here somewhere in the boondocks. Go back and watch this match. If you don't like it, I can't help you.
But one thing I did want to mention, so I mentioned to you how in Rock Austin I didn't like the finishers of the other opponents being used. So Jericho obviously did the sweet chin music.
Okay.
Michaels did not get off the walls of Jericho. He attempted to apply it. But I thought it worked here.
Yep.
Because Jericho, again, grew up idolizing, and it was more of he had a reason to use it, to mock, to
I can do it better than
that
you.
He's better.
Yep.
And I thought that's why it applied to this match much better than it did Rock
That's
versus
so true.
Austin.
So
Not
true.
that your opinions aren't valid, but mine's more. So
it worked.
Anyway, so great match. It was. I forgot how great the match was. So we'll let Matthew continue. So obviously that was pick number 1. So Matty, get into the next match of the night.
We'll lay out here now.
So we'll go on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of feel of the match.
Oh boy,
it's not negative. It's Halloween Havoc '95. Hulk Hogan versus the Giant.
Oh boy,
and we have a little intro right at the beginning of the show. It's 55 seconds, and it's really corny, but I was invested. They had the
for 1995. It was pretty good.
Definitely 1995 feel. You had the Giant's face on there, and like 20-25 seconds in, there's this little roar that goes with his face, and
it was a Godzilla roar, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. It was like Godzilla. We think it was Godzilla.
Roar and put it in.
It really. If I didn't know it, I did now.
I wish I had the sound.
And they had flying bats with their pictures in it, so they were really selling the big Halloween theme. But the whole point of it is leading up to Monster Truck Sumo Wrestling.
You heard that right, guys. Monster Truck Sumo Wrestling.
Did you hear that, John?
Monster Truck Sumo Wrestling.
What?
So, we skip in, it's hour 52 into the show, and they had the monster trucks on the roof. I think they said it was 5 stories up. They set up a ring of
explosives or something.
There were 2
charges.
There were 2 charges.
Yeah.
What
the hell's a charge?
The commentator tried so hard.
So they welded the trucks together, and the goal was to push the other truck completely outside of this ring they set up. And
you can access this on the WWE Network as well.
And by the way, there's the rules guy who tries to explain it, but you cannot understand a word he's saying, so wait for the announcer. He'll tell you exactly what you need to hear about it, which is push truck out of ring.
Avoid charge.
And as I'm watching this, Hulk's faces, he's really trying to sell that
this is clean-shaven Hulk Hogan, by the way.
Oh, yeah. He's really trying to sell that this is something intense, but it's just 2 cars trying to push each other. I'm sorry. It was not exciting after a while. It's like, and they finally, when the charge went off, I'm like, oh, great, something's going to happen. Like one of the tires going to go out.
No.
Oh, nothing happened. It's perfectly fine. And then it continues. Until finally Hulk Hogan pushes the Giant out of the ring. And then afterwards the Giant's pissed. He jumps out of the car. He gets Hulk Hogan to the edge of the roof.
On top of Cobo Hall.
In a chokehold. And then Hulk Hogan gets out of it. He does something to the Giant. And the Giant
loses his balance
and falls off the building.
Hulk Hogan killed a motherfucker.
He died.
And
the Giant died that night.
So, and then Hulk Hogan's running away. He's calling for help. He's like, I'm not going to jail for this. I didn't murder.
I was just in a monster truck match. It wasn't supposed to get to this point.
This wasn't supposed to happen.
And then they do a shot of the water, which reminds me of the end of Turtles 3.
Alright.
Anyway.
Let's keep this going.
So then it gets up to the lead up of the match, 2 hours, 10 minutes in, and the announcers are like really hyping up this, like, I really want to know what's happened to the Giant. Is he okay? We have one quotes in there is we can talk to astronauts on the moon, but we can't figure out what's going on 50 feet from this building.
I think that was Bobby Heenan, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then they do the recap and everything, and then the announcer again, he's like, if I want to figure out, I'll talk to the truck, I'll sit down, I'll beg. And he's trying to really sell. He wants to know what happened. Hulk Hogan comes in after the Giants meet, like they thought the Giant was gonna come in somehow, and then Hulk Hogan comes in and says...
Well, he obviously was dead.
Yeah. So then he's talking about how...
Hulk Hogan killed a motherfucker.
And Hulk Hogan went immediately to cover his ass, saying it was an accident. And then the Giant walks in. Music come in. He comes to the ring.
So real quick, let's talk about the majesty of this moment. The Giant was dead.
Yeah.
Came back to life.
It's
Halloween!
It's Halloween.
For the main event of the show, he came back from the dead.
Oh, yes. And it was...
Oh, yes.
And you know what's fun? He was not very wet. Because he was supposed to have fallen Riverside or whatever.
I think there was a parking lot there, I think.
No. They had the lift. They had the river.
No, there was parking lot side and then there was water side. He apparently fell off a water side.
Yeah, well...
Anyway, so then it gets into the match. The announcers are like totally against Hulk Hogan at this point. They're telling Giant
because he's a murderer.
Yeah, they're like rip him limb from limb, and that's saying it nicely. But it got pretty dark. So, and I'll say one nice moment in the match that you don't see as often is the Giant has Hulk Hogan down in this kind of hold, like they have their hands together, and he's pushing Hulk down. And
test of strength.
I guess that's what that was.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't know the name. So,
it's okay.
And then the crowd starts cheering in. And as the crowd's cheering in, Hulk gets more and more. Mm-hmm. He plays into it more and more and starts pushing up slowly, feeding into it until eventually he gets up. And that's something that I feel they ignore the crowd a lot lately in modern times. But we could talk about that later on. Sure. It was just a nice moment. And then... the Giant, he played off. He was the Giant Force and everything. He played that very well. He was not easily knocked down. Like Hulk hit him with stuff, and he reacted, but he wasn't really fazed by it. But the submission moves, they were not very believable. I'm sorry. He had him down. There was no hope. I'm sorry. And then Hulk Hogan, he played the underdog very well. He was like, he found openings. He was capitalizing on them, but he was struggling to find those openings throughout the match. So, but then he went to Super Hogan, and it was actually, it's a Halloween event. Sure, let's let it happen. He's not affected by moves anymore. He's getting, and what's nice too is instead of just going right into the special, he was getting some hits in first to kind of like phase him out before he applies a special, and then all shit broke loose. The referee was knocked out during Hulk's special. Then Lex Luger comes in. Then Savage comes in. And then a mummy comes in. And the mummies... So the Giants got Hulk Hogan in a bear hug. And then the mummy comes in and hugs both of them. And meanwhile, Savage is getting the shit out of him.
No, hold on. I'm sorry. Oh, wait. I'm trying to lay out here. I can't. I said this to you earlier. I'm going to say it on the air.
Yeah, catch me up here. It was really confusing.
No. The Yeti butt fucked Hulk Hogan. Continue.
Okay.
He butt fucked Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah.
And then, all right,
who
so
bring this shit?
So bring
Kevin
this back.
Sullivan.
So Jimmy Hart and Lex, because Jimmy Hart knocked out the referee. That's what led into all this chaos. And him and Lex Luger are beating up Savage while the mummy and the Giant is doing their thing.
He's a Yeti. He's not
and
a mummy.
Clear, but I really thought it was a mummy. He was wrapped in...
Exactly. But he's... that's why this thing is ridiculous.
Okay. Anyway, so then clearly the match is given up by this point, and it ends in disqualification, which was...
But how does John have to...
It was a little bit of a letdown by this point, because the match itself, I mean, it wasn't the best, but it was engaging enough where, you had the Giant versus...
So you liked it more than Michaels versus Jericho. Just say it.
I did not.
Oh! Oh!
I'm gonna lose this.
Alright, so who picked that match?
It's the first thing I thought of.
Michael?
You picked that?
Yes. See, he didn't know. I knew you didn't know.
So he's in third place.
You tricked me with your shirt.
I did. I intentionally wore my Eddie Guerrero shirt.
All
I
right.
would pick that match.
I honestly thought you
You
would.
thought I would pick that match.
What
again,
else
you
do
go
you
for the
need?
win.
You've got monster trucks. Somebody dies. A Yeti. Why would you not tune in the next night? Anyway, just continue. Obviously, I'm not going to win.
I mean, there's several merits to go by, and we'll get to it.
This is horseshit.
I just
That should be on the squad.
Podcast canceled.
I'm just not sure for the casual viewer if this is their first wrestling experience. If the monster trucks and they, yeah. All right, let's move forward because there's no way out. 2004, Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar. Video summaries, really well done. They're playing off each other. They're echoing each other at times, too, with the whole, I've been here before, and then the other side says, I've been here before. And Eddie's got the really strong story coming in. He's got betrayed by his family. He's back in the corner. He's disgracing his race. He did everything wrong, apparently. No one knows. So, he earned his way to the ring.
He lies, he cheats, he steals. Come on.
Yeah, and he'll do anything to win. He's extremely passionate. You believe the struggle. And then you get Brock Lesnar. I've never exactly bought Brock Lesnar's talking, per se. It was enough to get me invested, but he needs a stronger voice. I mean, it's nothing he can do about it.
He needs an advocate.
Yes, exactly. And then, he's talking about how he beats legends. He's been there before. And then one line that came up later on, he said, I hope you're addicted to losing. Which was, and then, Guerrero played into it saying, yes, I am addicted, and he went this whole spiel. And then what was cool at the beginning of this match, which I thought would have been good for first-time viewers, is they brought up statistics of the two wrestlers. And they had, it showed what each of their special moves were, what their height was. It kind of gives you
like
a
a
feel
tail
of
of the
who
tape
the
type
two
of
would
thing.
have
Okay.
So, and then you get, at the beginning, Brock Lesnar comes in. He's strong, confident. He's really focused more on himself. Again, that's kind of the face thing. And then Eddie comes in. He's got his, he's riding his motor vehicle of choice, and he's bouncing it in and everything. He's got the real pomp and circumstance kind of thing going, feeding in the crowd. He's encouraging them. He's playing the face, which really well done. And then you get the in-ring banter between the two, which really worked well. And also, Brock Lesnar, looking at him now versus back then, it was surprising to see how effective his suplexes and how strong he could be, actually knocking down opponents where they feel like they're hitting the ground hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, because what happened is, I think there were a total of 4 or 5 suplexes in the match total, and it was a long match. I think it was.
Oh, not like 16 like it took for John Cena to get beat?
Exactly. And the thing is, they were spaced out by other moves, which it really worked. Sorry, I lost my place here. So, and then again, it kind of reminiscent of the Hulk Hogan match was, Eddie trying to really get his moves in, but then quickly collapsing. He couldn't really overcome the strength of Brock Lesnar. He had to find his hits when he could find them and get them in. And he did find the opening. He got Brock Lesnar. He was working the leg because that was the weak body part of the day for Brock Lesnar. So he's hitting into steel post. And but what was impressive is Brock Lesnar, he's got his leg is over beyond the post. Eddie's holding it. He pulls himself backwards by his hands and pulls Eddie right into the post, and he's just showing off that his strength is he's a force to be reckoned with, and it really showed through all the just moments of strength that he showcased during the match. And then even the submission moves, they were a little long, but Eddie was kind of selling the pain that he was in, and then Brock was also Brock again, using his impressive arm strength to carry himself toward the ropes and everything like that. So, and then there was one moment that sort of got me off, is Brock Lesnar was going, he had Eddie's number at this point. He had him in the corner, he was beating him up, and then he went for a high knee where he essentially went over the post and outside the ring, and it just didn't look like he was going to hit any part of Eddie, no matter if he ducked or not. But it was fine. He hurt his knee again. Eddie takes control. He tries doing submissions. It looks painful. Suplexes are starting to look less impressive, but it makes sense because Brock is getting fatigued. Which, again, another thing they're demonstrating is that these wrestlers are people and they can fatigue throughout a match, and it kind of gives you a sense of that the match is achieving something, that they're beating each other up. So, and then figure for a leg lock, some suplexes, and then nice moment by Brock Lesnar. He's bleeding and he's saying, "Die, Eddie, just die." And he's really sound like he just wants Eddie Guerrero gone. And he does the F5, but F5 knocks out the ref. Brock is restless. He goes out, gets the belt, and then he's speared by Goldberg in the middle of the ring. And it worked enough. And what the thing is, I like
frog splash.
Goldberg came in and then he left.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. You didn't need this whole extended thing. And then Eddie covers him, but Lesnar... I was actually surprised with the Lesnar kicking out. I thought that would have been the end of the match because I'm so used to that now. It's like someone comes in, interrupts, the match is over. But no, it wasn't done. And the ref somehow got knocked out again. I don't know. He got up, did 2 count, then fell back down, I guess. And then Eddie, does the tries to hit Brock with the belt, but misses. Goes into an F5, which is reversed into a DDT, and then the frog splash finally hits. He had been trying it the whole night and kept missing, and then it finally hit. It was satisfying. The pinfall comes in, and then Eddie's parents were there, and he didn't get beat up, which was nice. It just was a satisfying.
And if your parents are in attendance, you're getting beat up in professional wrestling,
and it was a good end to a good story. It started off with this really strong opening monologue or opening dialogue between the two, and ended in a very hard-fought match where Brock Lesnar, he was all about his strength, but he couldn't overcome the opportunistic Eddie Guerrero, who has been fighting his way there the entire time.
So... good recap of all 3 matches.
Yeah, it was very well done.
Thank you for your attention to
awesome.
detail. The question is, which match has won?
I will, I could assign each. So, this is where we get to debate. What are we judging?
So, let's go over the grades. Let's go over...
all right, let's grade them.
So, I guess the original question was this. If you were shown this match... what's gonna make you watch again, or make you watch? Considering they're all pay-per-views, make you watch the next night, or get you most eager to watch more and learn more and see more.
So, if I was a first-time fan coming into this, I would give it to the Eddie Guerrero and Brock Lesnar. But, and that sounds like. If I had to choose best match overall, I would go to Chris Jericho.
Wrong!
I felt like the Chris Jericho was just a nice, fast-paced match. There were very few.
If you were
it kept you engaged.
If you liked somebody trying to kill somebody else,
if you were a 6-year-old child, which would you have chosen?
Not the one where somebody died.
Where there's a mummy and
but somebody died.
Oh yeah.
Well, it shows you that the afterlife is real, and it is the giant.
Oh my god!
The giant died.
I will say, if you are watching that, that was impressive. It was. I actually, this man who had just taken a 5-story dive off a building into a body of water and came back drier than he went in. I think
I've lost control of my concept.
So, how about match So match quality you'd give to the Jericho match.
Match quality I would give to
So
the
what would
Jericho
get you to come
match.
back would be Eddie Guerrero. What category does my match fit into?
Honestly,
Why are you... Okay.
No, your match it was very fun. It was like something that you would watch
It's
for
the
a good
E in
time.
entertainment.
You got pizza, you got beer, you're kicking it back, you're just trying to enjoy a good night. But you know what, you have friends over, you're talking to each other, you're watching the TV. You know, it's a
So
fun
my
time.
match is for the everyman.
Your match,
And you all are stuck up.
but if I did choose something, that would be what the first time wrestling
I'm just
fan-
offended that John won.
Alright, guys. Well, we got to step out for another quick break. Coming back at you with a little bit more to go. We got some questions, some little trivia that's going to happen here. Stick around. Let's be back in a short. Go grab a beer, something. It's Sunday Fun Day here on the PWO on YouTube.
Is it over yet?
And we're back. So, after the disappointment, that was the last segment.
He's gonna try to rebound, guys. He's a little distraught right now. Give us some seconds.
Somehow, Jericho and Shawn Michaels lost, and Hogan versus Giant lost.
Hogan versus anyway, okay.
And Brock Lesnar beat us.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar beat us. Does that mean we're gonna see a 5-star match with at WrestleMania? Potential, right? Potential. We'll see. Typical. Whatever. All right.
So we're on our final segment
of the show. And as always, we're returning to something familiar, and we would like to be the X-Men. But instead of somebody competing with you, we're just going to try to stomp you with trivia and embarrass you if you missed. So, without much further
let's
ado,
do it.
I believe Matthew has, and John, whoever wants to read them, have a couple of trivias. I have a couple as well I could throw in there until we stump the Yanksman.
That could be the first question. You never know.
Go ahead.
So, question number 1. Most matches at WrestleMania without a victory. Who owns that?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God.
Came out of the box running.
Most matches at WrestleMania without a victory?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Do we have some Jeopardy music loaded?
Bret the Hitman Hart. Unsuccessful, huh? I'm 0 for 1. Who we got?
It is apparently Goldust losing all 6 of his matches on the grand stage of the mall.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, I'll buy that.
Sorry, you were looking for.
Yeah, no.
So what was John next?
They love this, by the way, when I'm actually wrong. They absolutely love
Not fall for the trap.
At which WrestleMania?
Mania, the one in Dallas, that was 32?
Yes, that is correct. You have redeemed yourself.
Should be King Kong Bundy versus SD Special Delivery Jones from WrestleMania Uno. But of course, it's The Rock. He's an entertainer. We gotta put him over.
Okay. So,
1 for 1.
what is our next question?
Or 1.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm gonna say Trish Stratus.
Oh, yeah!
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
And you got the Macho Man seal of approval.
Seal of approval, baby. Yeah.
Oh, this is the good one. Which wrestler holds...
You should have made him think about it. The 4 matches.
He got it right away. I think
He's
he's going
too
to get
good
it
to not
regardless.
get Macho Man trivia.
Now, this one is a curiosity. WrestleMania hosted the WWE debut match for 6 superstars. Who were these 6 superstars?
This is a very good one.
I'm not gonna go with the typical first one because I know you guys want me to say his name right off the bat. He'd probably be number 2 because I can only remember 2 as of right now. But I'm going Matt Bourne at WrestleMania 1.
Because was that WWE technically? At the
Okay.
time? It's talking about. I think it's talking about WWE brand.
Well, this is from the WWE website, correct?
Yes.
So it would include every
It should
WrestleMania.
include every WrestleMania.
Well, they screwed up.
Was he
Then
in a match?
Matt Bourne fought Ricky Steamboat at WrestleMania 1.
Okay.
That was his debut.
In his debut match, his first wrestling match ever.
Well,
Well-
WWE doesn't recognize that as a match, so sorry.
That's why I'm jumping. That's why I'm jumping ship to AEW, WWE.
All right. Well,
Continue.
we will.
Well, now at this point, I mean, I'm going Matt Bourne Fandango
Okay.
at our WrestleMania.
at our WrestleMania, and I'm actually lost in several of these. Their first match ever, or their first match for WWE, or what was the exact
The
question?
WWE debut, probably.
Jesus Christ. Man, I could sit here and waste time, but I'm not going to do that. I don't know off the top of my head, so
Would you
The
like
official
to?
sound.
what do we got?
What do we got here?
So
I'll pronounce it first here because Michael wanted to hear me pronounce it. The Jinichiro Tenru and Koji Kitayo.
Are you kidding me?
I can't pronounce it.
Tenru, oh my god. Tenru and Katao at WrestleMania 7 against Demolition? That's the question!
Big E and Fandango. Sting, technically.
Yeah.
This question doesn't count.
Baron Corbin.
This question does not fucking count.
Baron Corbin.
No. I'm a technicality here on a question.
Oh man, we have to get the cut from that. That needs to be used on future shows. Woo! All right, do you have any more questions? So pissed him off. Piss off the X-Men.
Rebranding.
I'm not sure. So we'll give you.
As of WrestleMania 35, how many times did the WWE Championship change hands?
And we could give you if you get at least by 2.
No, not by 2.
Within plus or minus 1, because it may. I'm not sure if it includes WrestleMania
37.
35.
You heard it here first.
What? The title can be the WWE title. You're saying change hand 37 times?
37 times.
You're going with 37 times
37.
in 35 years of WrestleMania.
If I'm within a grace period of 25, I win.
So, Michael, you are.
Title changed hands 25 times.
It was close. It was a cool 22.
22, okay.
Not bad, though.
So then the final question.
Well, I've got more. I got a couple.
You've got a couple.
Yeah, let me go with mine. Yeah.
I hate it.
I found this on the Squared Circle on Reddit. So
Not that we're plugging that or anything. in this podcast. We
So
don't do
Tim, who is the longest tenured member of the WWE main roster to have never competed in a main card match at WrestleMania?
Current?
Longest tenured member, yes. Yeah, we really need Jeopardy music next time, bro.
Give me what I want.
I'm gonna need your answer.
Baron? No. Jesus Christ, man.
3, 2, 1.
Murder? No, that's wrong. Okay, I have no idea.
Primo Cologne.
He's still with the company?
Which is ironic.
No!
Considering our signing experience.
No, we didn't meet Primo.
I know we didn't meet Primo, but that was the joke.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
Oh, we met the other two.
Hunico and
Camacho. Same difference.
But we always was referenced as Primo and Epico. And I've got one more, Tim. And this one is actually ironic considering some of our conversation tonight.
Oh, Christ.
What was the only DQ victory in The Undertaker's streak? Not counting the one you thought or actually the DQ that should have gone against
Brings
him.
this whole episode full circle, don't it? Mm-hmm. The only DQ match in Undertaker's undefeated streak was at WrestleMania 9 in Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas against Giant Gonzalez.
That is correct. And why was he disqualified, Tim?
Because the Giant tried to kill him with a cloth of ether, filled with ether. Or chloroform.
Yes.
It was chloroform. Excuse me, not ether, chloroform.
Bravo! Bravo! John, do you have anything left?
How do you not end a show on chloroform?
Any other questions? We are good.
Any other questions? No.
Alright, so the X-Men is clearly lost. Again,
You win some, you lose some.
it was a entertaining,
I'll be back.
good.
Listen, Ric Flair wasn't champion 17 times. We had to lose it a couple times. I'll be back.
Send them out to someone.
Jack. Alright, guys, are we putting a bow on this
We are
whole,
putting a bow.
Are we on the big cam or the little cam? I can't.
Where
say.
are we?
On the
You guys are in
longest
the big cam.
on the longest show in PWO history at
No.
2 hours and 4 minutes.
Guys, it's been fun.
We are going to
Exit stage left! Exit stage left!
and see you all later.
See you guys.
Good seeing y'all.
See.